how are you? I'm Victoria Nanas, in case you're new here and in case you're returning. Thank you very much. Yes, it is a Sunday and it's time for Trending with Victoria. What stories made it to your list this week? The following are the stories that made it to my list. But before we continue, have you subscribed? If not, what are you waiting for? Please go ahead and click on the subscribe button and on the notification bell so that every time I upload new videos, you get notified. And our first story comes in from Ghana, where a Chinese man, yes, you had it right, a Chinese man was named a chief. What? How? Like how? That can only happen in Ghana or in Africa. So in this particular region of Ghana that goes by the name Kwahu Abefrit, a Chinese man was named a chief, but he was named a development chief. Yes, he was given a title of a development chief because of what he did for this particular region. Now, this particular region is found in the eastern region of Ghana. His being named as a chief caused a lot of uproar on the internet, and everyone was like, how do you do that? Yes, it caused uproar among Ghanaians. How do you name a Chinese a chief? How come? But in this particular region, the region of Kwahu Abefrit, they have these titles. They give out these titles to people who have done things that are developmental to them, but particularly politicians or tourists, people who come and do develop their society are given these titles. So that is why this particular Chinese was actually also given this title of a chief. And yes, he was seen being carried around like the way chiefs were carried around in the African society, and even up to now in different cultures, the chiefs or the kings are being carried up depending on what functions are being carried out. So also on this function of naming this Chinese chief, yes, he was being carried out around by residents, and then he was also seen taking photos with these residents. And yes, like I said, it didn't go well with people who saw this, and yes, with us Africans, like, how does someone just come from a certain part of the world and you name them chiefs? But to them, they found it befitting to call him a chief or to name him a development chief. And like, yes, it has happened at the time when people are looking at Chinese as some of the people who are taking over the African continent slowly but sure, wherever you go to in any African continent, you will find Chinese people there. And there is a particular country in Africa where they are even part of their police. So when you see such things happening, when people hear that, in a certain country they were named police, they are part of the police, and now someone is giving them the titles of chiefs, isn't that an easier way of taking over this African continent? I leave that to us. Second story still comes in from Ghana, where a USA-based Ghanaian pastor, Awan Silva Ofori, was charged with first-degree murder after shooting his wife 7 times. Now, this comes at the time when his wife was trying to divorce him. Can you imagine? It turn from being sweet to being bitter? How does it turn out to, I want to leave you and you decide to shoot me? This particular pastor who loves being called a prophet shot his wife 7 times as she was at her job site, and that was at the credit union, or you can call it a bank. Yes, while she was getting inside her place of work, this pastor shot her 7 times, and it is said that he ensured that she is dead because he further went to where she had fallen down after he had shot her, and did shoot her more.
Sylvester Ofori was very subdued and quiet while facing a judge this afternoon. He's accused of murdering his wife, Barbara Tommy, as she went to work at Navy Federal Credit Union on Tuesday morning. Prosecutors telling the judge today the killing was caught on video.
Video surveillance, which shows Mr. Ofori not only shoot his wife, but then stand over her body and put additional rounds into her head.
Ofori is pastor of this church, Floodgates of Heaven, on Coburn Avenue in Orlando. No one answered the door here today, but on his Facebook page, Ofori calls himself a prophet.
He's got quite a social media following where he's, speaks to his followers and called himself a prophet, his followers.
After the shooting, police went to this apartment building on Raleigh Street where Ofori and Tommy had at one point lived together. Investigators say they brought the SWAT team and eventually found him in the home.
We had a good feeling that he was going to be in there. We don't believe there was any risk to the public or immediate danger to the public.
Police have not said what led up to the attack, but we are told Tommy and Ofori were getting a divorce. Court records also show that in 2016, Ofori was arrested for resisting an officer who responded to an argument between the two.
Someone committed a heinous act of violence towards a loved one, and there's unfortunately no excuse for that.
Do you have to be this violent? Why do you have to kill your wife? And what do you think? How can you become that bitter after loving this person? They have been together, married for 5 years. He is a 35-year-old man and she was a 27-year-old woman. She was called Barbara Tommy. Barbara Tommy was also a pastor in the same church that Pastor Silva was ministering in. And yes, he was seen in a certain video fighting with Barbara's sister, and that was some time back, and it is because of him being violent. He did say that their marriage has been violent for a long time, but yes, this lady still kept on going, thinking that, you know what, one day this will change, but it never changed, and that is it. It is always said you can never change a human being because we are not God. And these are the things that I think we should all watch out when we are courting people. When you are in courtship period, look out for how do people react when they are angry. What do they say? Because, at one point, all these things come out. Yes, you may be dilly-dallying. He or she may say certain things and you're like, no, they cannot do that. And you do not see yourself at one point walking out of this relationship or with this person. And yes, they may say things and you take them for granted. But observe those little things that when things ever go wrong, I don't say they will go wrong, but when things ever go wrong, you know that this person can do such and such a thing. So it's better not to walk into marriage with them. Or you can choose to say that, you know what, no matter what, I'll stay with this person. Get to know people while you're dating them. Get to know people while you're courting them. Get to know their good and bad behaviors, and learn a few things before saying yes to them. She just said yes to him. They were happily married. But at one point, he became a violent man. And what did he do? After she wanting to divorce him, after so many encounters that happened, it is said that also in 2016, this man was reported by this lady for being violent to police. And yes, he tried to fight a police person. So it has come on. It is a vice that he has had for a long time, for the longest time possible. And, this lady thought I would handle. But my dear, the more you let that happen, that is what happens in the end. Someone can kill you. So it is so sad that Barbara Tommy lost her life that way. But to everyone out there who is in a violent relationship, it is high time you walked out before something bad happened. Disaster story number 3, which comes in from Uganda, where a rumor has been circulating throughout the whole week, and as I speak, it is still circulating that schools are going to be reopened. Wow. Schools in Uganda were closed in March, and that was before we received the first coronavirus case in Uganda. The president of Uganda came out and closed schools, and he said that before we even get cases, let us first close these communities where we have so many people, and that is the school community. There are so many children that go to school, so they first closed school, and that was way back in March. And yes, a rumor came that it is just a rumor, it is not yet confirmed, and he has not yet confirmed it that schools are opening. But yes, like I said, it is still a rumor. They say that schools are going to be opened on the 20th, and so many people came out to oppose it, saying that no, you cannot just wake up and reopen schools. You have to set you have to make sure that parents are set. You have to, give them some time to make sure that they get the school fees, because of course, even parents have been affected. They don't have the money, but they want their children to be back in schools. So some are saying let children go back to school, and some are saying let them not go back to school. But I can confirm to you that it is some schools that are going to be open first and foremost. Those that are able to meet the standard operating procedures that were set by the Ministry of Health, and those that are not able are not going to be open. And yes, it is only children in candidate classes that are going back to school. Others are still going to stay home until further notice. I don't know whether it will be until next year, but the government knows about that, or the ministry knows about that. But yes, come October, schools are going to be opened only for the candidate pupils or students. They are really reporting back to school. And yes, to every parent out there, look for school fees and look for school fees and let us have these children back to school. We have had them for so many months. It is high time that we let them go, attain that education. And yes, it is not only in Uganda where schools are going to be opened, but even in other countries, like for example Zambia. And now Zambian president was opening up schools and all other places that were closed. He actually said that they are just doing a study. In case situations get worse, they'll still go back in a lockdown. But for now, he said let the schools be open. And also, this comes at a time when schools abroad, schools in China, schools in the United States of America, name those countries, were opened at the beginning of this month. Yes, they are past corona. Yes, they still have the virus. It's not like they don't have the virus, but they have gone beyond that stage and, saying, let schools open. Now, to them, all school levels are open. That is from nursery to, higher institutions of learning. So I hope Uganda picks a leaf and we learn to stay with the virus, and let even these other children who are remaining home be let to go back to school. Yes, with the standard operating procedures being put across. I know, yes, some cannot meet them, but government should come out and really help these schools so that children go back to school, so that they don't have to lose their academic year, because it is like some of them are headed to losing this academic year, apart from the candidates. That story number 4 comes in from the United States of America, where President Donald Trump was nominated 2 times, as in 2 times, for the Nobel Peace Prize. Wow. Yes, even a nomination. How many people would want to be nominated? As in, just getting on that nomination list, it ain't easy. But yes, here is Donald Trump, one of the presidents in America who has been attacked and opposed a lot by people. And here he is being nominated. For the past nomination, he was nominated by a Norwegian politician who said that President Donald Trump acted as a blocker between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Yes, he worked on seeing that a peace deal is signed between these 2 countries. And yes, the second one, he was nominated by a Swedish member of parliament, that administration worked hard to see that there is a peace between Kosovo and Serbia. Now, this one, Donald Trump, nothing but the best. I wish that he takes these two nominations, because, like I said, he has been criticized just of recent, like 2 weeks back ago. I reported and said that Obama came out, and Obama is the former president of America. He took over from him. Yes, he came out and criticized the Trump administration, and he said it has failed the people of the United States. But yes, there are people who are actually not in the United States that are appreciating his work, like the people who did nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize. And like I said, I wish him the best, and I would want to see him take this prize back home. And that leads us to the last story, which comes in from Mali, where a peace deal has been signed between the protesters and the civilians. Now, it comes at the time when the president of Mali was overthrown. That was on the 18th of August this year. And yes, when he was overthrown, there was put an interim government. And yes, this interim government came to a conclusion that yes, after 18 months, they are going to let a military person or a civilian rule over the country. After that is 1 year and some few months. So from now up to then, they are going to be having an interim government, and it is going to be either led by the military or is going to be a civilian. And that is good for Mali. I mean, they have been protesting since then, and then 2 weeks back they were protesting. And yes, when these people who took over were saying that they are going to do that in 2 years, people still came out to protest, and that, like I said, that was 2 weeks back, and said no. And that is when they came to a conclusion that is the military, the people who are fighting, and the civilians, and the civilians, and they said, you know what, after 18 months we are going to work out this and make sure we have a president, we have a settled government, and we have everything back in order. Now, the ex-president of Mali was overthrown due to corruption, mismanagement of government funds, and you know, all those other things that happen in African governments. That has been trending with Victoria. See you next Sunday. Yes, sir, please go to the comment section and tell me which stories made your week. And yes, add unto even the ones that I have reported today. See you.